Hello and welcome to Everyday Tarot, your daily dive into the divine wisdom of the tarot. I'm your host, Camille A. Saunders, and today I'll be talking about a career direction tarot spread. Whether you're a seasoned tarot reader or just starting to explore, this podcast offers daily insights, intuitive messages, and practical advice drawn from the cards. Each episode is designed to help you connect with your inner wisdom, find clarity in your decisions, and tap into the energy of the universe. Tune in every day, Monday through Friday, for fresh perspectives and empowering guidance from the tarot as interpreted by me. The best way to support the podcast right now is to listen daily, rate, review, and to follow or subscribe in your chosen podcast app. The next best way is to check out my Patreon at patreon.com/everydaytarot. I just added some new benefits over there, so if you join at the lovers level, you get the ability to ask tarot-related questions that I'll answer on the podcast, and you'll be individually thanked by name on the podcast when you join that tier. And if you join the Witch Bitch level, you get the opportunity to get an individual tarot reading live on the podcast. The link is in the show notes if you want to check out the Patreon. You can always go to my website, CamilleASaunders.com/everydaytarot for all the latest information related to the podcast and to find images of the cards that I pull. If you're local to the greater Puget Sound area, I'd love to see you at my next Let's Talk Tarot meetup group event on April 6th at 11:15 a.m., where we're meeting at the Haunted Farmers Market in South Tacoma. So you can RSVP for that event. In the show notes, there will be a link for the meetup there. All right, so we're in season 5 right now, and in this season, I'm talking all about common tarot spreads. I'm going through 13 different tarot spreads, one per episode, and walking you through an example of what it looks like to do them. And if you haven't listened to my other seasons yet, you should go ahead and check those out. In the first season, I introduced tarot through talking about oracle versus tarot cards, myths of tarot, how to find a deck, reading for yourself versus others, and much more. In seasons 2 and 3, I went through the major arcana and the 4 suits, one per episode, and in season 4, I talked all about tarot and pop culture and examined representations of tarot in video games, TV shows, movies, and more. So today I'm talking all about a career direction tarot spread. So if we think about the timing for when you might want to do this spread, right, it could be whenever you want clarity about your career direction. Maybe you have just started a new career or you're considering it and so you have some questions, or maybe you're wanting to know what's next for you. I got this spread from Emerald Lotus, and the link for them and their website will be in the show notes. This is a 5-card spread, and I loved what the author of this spread sort of talked about when they were thinking about creating this spread. They said, do you feel like your career should be heading in a different direction? It can be a real challenge to figure out where you want to end up in regards to your career, but have no fear. This tarot spread will help. They also say, I want to remind you that you are so much more than your career. It does not define you, but it can be fulfilling to do something and you enjoy. It's important that whatever you choose to do day to day inspires you and doesn't drag you down. You deserve the best. So I loved that, right? Like they're not sort of oblivious to the fact that career spreads can be like challenging sometimes, or just that sometimes we can maybe look to our career to like fix things in our life, or, oh, I just need a new career that will like help me get past this stuck place. And maybe it can, but also sometimes, right, there may be other things going on in our lives, or, right, that maybe our career is not something we want to have to be the sole focus of our life, at least not permanently. Okay. So when we think about how the spread actually looks, so like I said, there are 5 cards. So the first card is in the middle, the second is in the upper left, the third's in the upper right, the fourth is in the lower left, and the fifth is in the bottom right. So it's sort of like 1 card in the middle and like 4 in a square formation around it. And the questions that we're going to be utilizing for this spread are a card to describe my career as a whole. That's the first one, so that's the one that goes in the middle. And then the second one is, what step do I need to take in my career? The third is, how will I know what's right for me? Fourth is, what skills will be required in my career? And 5 is something I can do to jumpstart it. All right, so grab your decks. I'm going to grab mine as well. Think about this, right? If you have a particular question in regards to your career, you can think about that as we start to pull cards or as we're shuffling. And yeah, then we'll just sort of get started and get into it. All right, so I'm going to be reading cards from my Anima Mundi Tarot deck by Megan Lyra Wendon, which again mostly has animals and plants and other nature things going on. I'm going to shuffle a little bit, thinking about my career. What do I want to know? Describing my career as a whole, right? Keeping some of these questions in mind, and then I'll go ahead. We'll lay down our 5 cards and get started. So I'm thinking about, again, my career as a whole. Asking, what do I need to know? What do I need to keep in mind? What messages do you have for me? All right, and then I'm going to cut the deck. I'm going to lay out my 5 cards, and you can do the same. So again, the first one goes in the middle, the second in the upper left, the third in the upper right, the fourth in the bottom left, and the fifth in the bottom right. And I like to lay mine face down to start, and then I just reveal them sort of one at a time. That's my preference. You can do whatever you like. All right, so let's look at the first card. And again, this is the card to describe my career as a whole. Oh, the lovers. Okay, so this lovers card in this deck depicts like 2, not swans, but some kind of heron, some long-legged bird, and it's a very like symmetrical card. Often it shows 2 people intertwined. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean literal love or literal lovers, but often it's about like harmony or things going well together. So that's nice. So I'm going to go ahead and look in that. Okay, so in this deck it says the lovers are a red-crowned crane. Okay, so it's a type of crane. And it says 2 red-crowned cranes in a mating dance. This is a species like many other bird species that mate monogamously for life. This card signifies a harmonious relationship with a solid foundation and a deep bond. Outside of relationships, the lovers indicate that an important decision may have to be made. Be clear of your values and your belief systems and stay true to yourself. So it says upright. This card's about love, harmony, passion, choices, relationships, and communication, establishing values. And if it were reversed, it would be more about a breakdown of communication, dysfunction, imbalance, and lack of harmony. So it sounds like, for me at least, there's sort of this harmony, right? Maybe there's like a decision that has to be made, but it should be made through my values and belief systems and staying true to myself. And that, again, that this is under the theme of the card to describe my career as a whole. So seems like pretty harmonious for me. Again, you'll have to see for your card what you pull. So let's move on to the second one to get some more information. So the second one is all about what step do I need to take next in my career. So I'm going to go ahead and flip that card over. And I pulled the Page of Swords. I think I actually pulled this card yesterday in a different deck, but that's interesting. And again, this is the what step do I need to take next in my career. And on my image for this card, it shows like a monarch butterfly emerging out of a chrysalis. So I'm going to go ahead and look that up in my book. And so what step do I need to take next in my career? It says, okay, this is the monarch butterfly. The Page of Swords represents new energy, projects, and ventures. You may experience some conflict as you go, but your ability to reason, communication skills, and intuition will guide you along the way. So upright, this is all about curiosity, energy, enthusiasm, ideas, communication, and new phases. So it does seem like there's something sort of like new coming in with my career, or sort of like getting all these ideas, which I definitely have been feeling, and just feeling a little more confident in. Okay, let's go ahead and look at our third card now. And the question for this one is, how will I know what's right for me? So I'm going to go ahead and pull that over. Okay, it is reversed, and I pulled the 6 of Wands. Okay, I'll look that up in my book. Okay, so I'm going to read the upright, and then we'll look at the reversal. So the 6 of Wands And again, this is about how will I know it's right for me. Six of Wands depicts nasturtium, which is like a edible flower. It says, after a tough battle, you've come out on top and you're very publicly being recognized for it. This is a great motivation booster for you to keep continuing with what you are doing. However, remember not to let it get to your head and turn into arrogance. So upright, this is about triumph, public recognition, success, pride, and encouragement. And reversed, it says it's more about self-doubt, egotism, and lack of recognition. So that's interesting. It's not totally clear to me, but when we think about this in the context of the question of how will I know it's right for me, it sounds like, right, I need to keep in mind ego, that that maybe I'm getting some recognition and that is helping like motivate me continue what I'm doing, which right now has been like some speaking engagements and trainings that I'm putting together, some workbooks I'm creating. But remember not to let it get to my head and turn into arrogance. And so also that if things don't go recognized, that doesn't mean that they're not going well. I think that's sort of the other thing that might come up here. So how will I know what's right for me? Yeah, I guess for the things I'm being recognized for, continuing with what I am doing. It sounds like just sort of keep up with it, right? Keep up with my current commitments, and then sort of not letting any like recent wins sort of either get to my head or allow me to like think that, oh, I don't need to do anything else. Like I'm good to go. Sort of that like doing the hard work and keeping up with it and keeping up with the ideas is like what I need to continue doing. So yeah, I think my takeaway with that one is sort of like keep on keeping on, keep creating and coming up with new ideas without getting caught up in what's not being recognized right now. All right, let's move into the fourth card, which is what skills will be required in my career. All right, I'm going to pull this over. Interesting. I pulled the Three of Wands reversed. So we're back to Wands and again back to a reversal. It says, after a planning period of the Two of Wands, it's time to put those plans into action. Open the doors of opportunity to broaden your scope. Start thinking long term and be ready to embrace change. So upright, this is about preparation, expansion, enterprise, looking ahead, and growth. And reversed, it's more about obstacles, struggle, lack of foresight, impatience, and delays. So, what skills will be required in my career? It sounds like right there, I have to sort of keep up with the preparation and expansion and looking ahead, and to not kind of get caught up in impatience or thinking that if something gets delayed, that, oh, I should just cancel it or it's not right for me. That there are going to be obstacles and struggle as I go along, and that I need to think long term and be able to sort of embrace change and adapt instead of like seeing that as like a reason to stop doing it or for not sort of planning ahead. Okay, and for the fifth and final question and card, the question or theme is about something I can do to jumpstart my career. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Oh, this is such a cute card. I pulled the Page of Cups, so again, another page, but this one is of Cups, which I hadn't pulled any other Cups cards, and it's like a little sea otter, I think. In this deck, all of the Cups cards are like water creatures, since it's a water sign or suit. So super cute looking. Okay, Cups, and it's the page. Okay, so something I can do to jumpstart my career. This is a sea otter. The Page of Cups is boundless, intuitive, and a bit of an inner child. Don't be afraid to dream big and follow your heart. Additionally, be sure to listen to your intuition. It's trying to tell you something. So upright, this is youthful energy, freedom, inspiration, intuition, and positive messages. So it sounds like sort of, yeah, listen to my intuition, keep dreaming big and follow my heart. Again, like some messages might be coming in, intuition trying to tell me something, and that there's also this sort of like playful, right? If you think of like a sea otter, if you've ever seen them in real life or at the zoo, they're super playful. They move really quickly. They rarely sit still, right? They are sort of, I think a lot of children like them or identify with them. I know when I'm in the water, it can be very fun to sort of embody a sea otter as you like flip and float around. They often interact with each other a lot. They're not solitary creatures generally. So it sounds like also like nurturing my inner child or doing things that are fun and sort of that I get ideas about. And again, sort of not getting caught up in like, what else? Like creative blocks or like oh, I don't know if this idea is going to work, or like not being focused on things, or like sort of immaturity, but instead sort of if I do have certain ideas, or if I have these things that I think will work, like following through on them, taking them seriously, and also like finding the joy and fun in these things. This is making me think about, so yesterday I did a presentation for Evergreen Hearts, a local nonprofit that is to bringing together and helping educate and find community for polyamorous folks in my area. And I got to do a 15-minute presentation, so just a short one, but about paganism and polyamory and sort of the overlaps I see in the communities and why a lot of people identify as both, and just, yeah, which again is a topic that I was sort of interested in. Someone at a previous talk I gave in like the polyamory context had asked about my own identity as a witch and like how do I view that? How does that play into other identities I have? And so I thought it was a really interesting like subject to sort of explore and like to give myself the opportunity to like do some research and like kind of tap into like where is that Venn diagram overlap of pagan and polyamory communities, and what are like a lot of the things that they have in common and why people might like find one and the other, or again, like I said, sort of end up identifying with both of these communities, and sort of why that happens. So that's sort of like what's coming to mind when I think about this is like this sort of a little bit playful like energy, like sort of doing something that just seemed really interesting to me. I had never really heard anyone talk about it. I found like a couple, like an article, but a lot of it was actually centered on polyamory in the pagan community and not like paganism in the polyamory community. So I'll have to see if I can contribute to that research. But yeah, it was just pretty fun to do. Like I said, I committed to do a 15-minute presentation, so pretty short. I've presented for an hour long at with this for these talks before, so it was again sort of fun for me to get in front of the community and talk about some of these things I'm interested in, and just sort of like open up a conversation about this too, because I think a lot of times with polyamory and paganism, people aren't always out about it, or maybe they are, right, in safer spaces or when they go to events, but then they're not so much out in it in their day-to-day life. So yeah, I was just sort of thinking about that, and since this is in the realm of jumpstarting my career, it sounds like sort of like, oh yeah, I should keep like doing those types of things, giving the types of trainings or the type of presentations of like things that I see are like a gap in, like I said, the research, or like I don't see anyone talking about this, or oh, I think there needs to be a training about this that people aren't getting, and just sort of centering that, and also centering things that I find interesting, not just coming up with presentations that I think might work really well in my field or that like other people are doing. So I know that other like people are interested in that. Like that's great and all, but like that's not necessarily where I find my joy and like motivation to again like give a presentation or like plan out these sort of adventures or things like that. So yeah, I'm thinking about adapting that talk into a workbook, so giving like some exercises people could do to sort of explore these avenues or like their own belief systems around it. what their biases are, stuff like that. And I think that would be pretty fun. So that's sort of what I'm thinking about as I pulled this card in this Jumpstart to My Career section with the Page of Cups. All right, so we've gotten through all 5 cards as an example of the spread. I hope that you enjoyed getting to hear what was coming up for me. Hopefully you get a chance to do this on your own with your own tarot deck as well and kind of see what's up next for you, or if you have career questions, right? This can be a great spread to sort of bring some clarity to you or just sort of give you some more reflection and ideas to think about as you might be making decisions about how to move forward, or even maybe choosing between 2 jobs that are open to you and available that maybe you've applied for, like which one, you could even do a spread like that as well. All right, so links for the tarot decks I talk about will always be in the show notes and on my website if you'd like to look at them and purchase them. And thanks for joining me today on Everyday Tarot. Just as a reminder, the podcast comes out daily, Monday through Friday for all of 2025. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.